Hey guys, this is our third video on Sunday afternoon, and this one's going to be about relationships. I want to start off telling y'all a story that I believe I've also shared with y'all in one way or another that I learned from my husband, and then later I heard almost the same analogy from Jeremy Miner, who's the guy that I was telling y'all to take his class. And basically, when I first got into this, my husband used to do pharmaceutical sales, and he gave me some great advice. He said, Ashley, if you went on a date with somebody and all they did was talk about themselves, how often would you want to go out with them again? And what he meant is when you get into sales, you really do have to learn how to date whoever it is you're calling on. Now, he didn't mean, of course, me physically go out on dates with them. I know y'all understand that. But what he meant was, don't go in there and just talk about your product and do nothing else. You need to go in there and really get to know your people. And what we do, and he understands this, we are... Oftentimes when we go into an office, we are seen as an interruption. We are seen as a distraction. We are actually told, the front window witch, as some of you call her, the gatekeeper, as other people call them. We are told, or they are told rather, to keep us out, because they don't need all those distractions. So if you're like me, sometimes I go in and I think, gosh, I only have like 2 or 3 minutes. I've got to get this information out, and I've got to get the sale and whatnot. And how can I be relational and do those things at the same time? And I want to tell you, it is more about the relationship than it is about the sale. If you can figure out how to not even care about getting the referral, and I know that there are people who are probably at the corporate level, if they heard me say that, would want to fire me. But if you can learn how to let that not be your focus and let your focus be on the person that you're interacting with, I promise you, the difference in sales and getting the referrals that you need is going to go through the roof. See, when we go in and we act like the typical salesperson, let me just tell y'all that I've learned that every other salesperson is going in and saying the same thing that you're saying. They are going in and saying, I want to make a difference. I want to make your life easier. I want to give you the easy button. I want to do I. But if you can go in and actually be different, be a breath of fresh air in a place that is highly stressful. I know y'all all know that. Everybody we call on, they are stressed out all the time. If you could go in and be that breath of fresh air and say, what can I do to help you? How are you doing today? And it not be about me, they will see that as a key differentiator. It has to be sincere though, guys. They can see right through. If you're just trying to be the salesperson, let me find your need and scratch that itch for you, they will read right through that. And so I just want to encourage you to actually legitimately care about the people that you're calling on. Legitimately ask the questions that find out more about your people. Again, going back to Jerry Acuff, I will mention him a ton because I listen to a lot of his podcasts. I listen to a lot of his short videos on YouTube. But he has written a book, several books actually, but one of them is called The Relationship Edge. Again, Relationship Edge by Jerry Acuff. And he's also written a book saying that, I think it's called Stop Acting Like a Seller, Start Thinking Like a Buyer. Stop acting like a seller, start thinking like a buyer. And in both books, he really emphasizes the relationship. He emphasizes figuring out what the need is of the other person and how can you legitimately meet that need. Now, there was a young lady I spoke with this week, and I told her, I said, I don't always want to be known as the snack girl, because I really do want to get in there and talk about our product. But sometimes you bringing a snack by at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a stressful day, or at 1 o'clock when you think everybody's eaten, but that nurse of yours has not even been able to stop and eat lunch, and you bring a snack by, you're meeting a direct need of that person. So I don't think it's a bad thing to be kind of the snack person, if you will, if you're meeting the need of a person. But sometimes you bring snacks by, and you've got that girl who is struggling so much to stay on a diet, and you coming in is actually a thorn in her side. It is actually just another way that she feels like Satan is walking in the door with those donuts and tempting her in an area of her life that she is really struggling in. And so I tell you that to say that if you could kind of figure out what the need is of each person, you will know better how to meet that need. In doing so, I have found that if I can strategically provide things for people, whether it's a snack or whatever, that like if I know that somebody's on a diet and I know that they're trying to not eat carbs at all, I make sure if I bring snacks by, I've got almonds in there, I have fruit, I have bananas, I have oranges. I have things that the person who's on the diet, I can say, I see you, I know what you're doing, I brought in something specifically for you. I just want you to know that I want to encourage you to stay strong in what you're doing. Y'all, that speaks volumes to them. I'm going to tell you another story. My husband challenged me a couple weeks ago to, I had an office that I never can get to the back, ever, 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 ever. I have been in front of the doctor 2 times, and both times it was because I provided lunch. I had provided 4 lunches for them, and only 2 of them did he actually come out and speak to me. So I never get to the back. And even the person that I call on, she's just grumpy, never smiles. Every time I'm around her, I feel like I'm treated like this is an inconvenience. So she did have me come back one day, and I had to pick up some folders and orders that had been signed. And my husband had said, go in today. Don't talk about what you do at all. Don't talk about yourself at all. I want you to look around her office and see if you can't find something in her office that can give you some insight into her life. And sure enough, some of you know this story. I went in and I looked up on her bulletin board, and she had 2 pictures of her children, but she had like 8 pictures of her dogs, multiple dogs. And so sure enough, I asked her about her dogs. She told me about each one, pointed to the pictures, and talked about them at length. And I was able to tell her about my dog and how my dog was bit by a rattlesnake last year. And we talked about how one of hers had been injured. And, we just had this conversation about dogs, and that was it. And I said nothing more. I picked up my orders, told her, have a good day. But the next time I came by, I brought dog treats in a little bag with a little dog bone attached to it and a little note just specifically to her. The next 4 or 5 times I came in, somebody in that office said something to me about it. You're the girl who brought the dog biscuits to her. And she couldn't stop talking about that. She couldn't stop talking about that. Now, when she and I talk now, I ask about her dogs. It has made all the difference. You just never know what it's gonna take. I'll tell you one other story, and this is a story about my sweet husband, who is an amazing man. He is a camel personality, like I told y'all before. He is quiet and insightful and good with statistics, etc. And when we lived in Memphis, he was a pharmaceutical rep then. He actually was a specialty rep, which means he had oncology products. And he had 2 oncology practices that he was selling breast cancer products to. And one of these practices was going through a really kind of nasty divorce, if you will, within the practice. They were splitting, 3 of the doctors going one way, 3 another way, and he called on people in both worlds. And he began doing something for them that did not benefit him, did not sell his product at all, 0 amount. But in the end, it saved that practice more than almost $100,000 because of something that a person that he put them in contact with that kind of helped with this little split that was going on, and it helped both sides. It brought him what I call favor in the eyes of all of those physicians, to the point that one set of them came to him and said, we're looking for an office administrator. We know you don't have a degree in that, but if you're interested in it, we'd love to help pay for your master's in this area, and you come work for us. And y'all, he did. He did, and he ended up getting his master's from Vanderbilt in hospital administration, which led us here to Auburn in the position that he has now. Now, my husband used to be a high school physics teacher, and now he's a director of physician groups at the hospital. And one of the reasons is because he learned how to date this practice. He looked for a way that he could be a connector and made a difference in the lives of the people. He had no idea it would take him down the path that it took him down. But what it did was that it met a need. So I want to encourage y'all to figure out, what is the need of your practice? Do they need a fern in the front? Do they need coffee K-cups in the back? Do they need I don't know, pens? Do they need whatever it is? Find a need in that practice. Figure out how to meet that need, and I promise you, you'll see an increase in referrals. You will. Make it about the relationship and make it not about you. Make it about them and be sincere. And I believe that you will. I don't know. You will have success in ways that you cannot even imagine.